has a very solid identity, which is, hey, look, we've got good mid jungle setup with the Ahri Lee Sin. We can play hyper aggressive. We've got good setup on our bot side thanks to this Rel as well that we can try and play through. So, and even obviously Renekton providing that point and click CC for Lee. So lane setup across the board, which is the best moment for Lee Sin to be brought out. But the question remains of like, how do you try and play these team fights? Because once Nocturne hits 6, these dive compositions require a lot of communication, a lot of coordination, and Nocturne dissuades that because he's able to just go, hey, you can't see what your team's doing, you don't really know what direction people are coming from, and if you're able to provide that disruption, that could be.
This is going to be definitely a little bit more kind of scrappy in the early stages for GAM especially. They're going to want to try and make these things happen, but like we saw in that first game, if it doesn't go well and you start to fall behind, they did look a little bit like a fish out of water. They didn't really know exactly when and where they needed to go, so have to make sure that they can bounce back solidly. It's not the end of the world if they lose this best of 3, but it definitely doesn't help them with their chances of moving on to the Swiss stage.
I mean, especially you kind of end up with a situation where you got or7 who will go up against the guys who knocked them out. You got Loud who'll be going up against the guys who knocked them out if we end up with both sides losing. So it'll be very interesting to see how it goes. But yeah, I'm excited to see GAM try and find their footing in this one again. Like, it feels like, again, you've got good setup, try and play through your lanes. But if Loud are able to get towards those later team fights, like Root, incredibly safe from the dive that GAM have thanks to Xayah. You're looking at the ball delivery system that Croc will offer with Tinowns. And a lot of people don't realize is that, like, if you start the animation of the ultimate, it will carry past the area of like the ball coming back to Orianna. So a lot of that combo is going to be a case of Tinowns trying to time that correctly as Croc sends himself in and being that big engage tool.
See what they can make of it, of course, but for the moment, of course, if you want to connect your League of Legends account with your Prime Gaming, you can grab the exclusive experimentation emote. Get yourself a nice little bit of a freebie. And, you know, you can get loads of different stuff for Prime Gaming, so always check it out. So we can see what they kind of go for here. I wonder if any more experimentation is going to happen in the play-ins. What's the craziest thing you're thinking? Because we saw Mumu yesterday in the WQS, which wasn't technically World, so... Yeah.
I mean, I'm still waiting for the Senate to come out. I've just heard awful things about it. She's doing at the moment. Myself and Dracos have also been tearing up solo queue. Well, we'll say solo queue with 5 stack normals.
Yeah. Ruining some poor person's day every day.
Yeah, with Senna, so we'll see how that one goes. But yeah, I mean, there's still a huge amount. I think Azir is still very, very popular. I think we haven't really seen any of the 80 carry bullies come out from like Lucian and Caitlyn and that kind of stuff. So definitely a lot still to try and figure out and experiment with. And also we kind of have the usual one, which is like there's always one pick that pops up in play-ins and you're like, this is so broken, and then we get to the main stage, you're like, this is useless.
Yeah, Tryndamere. I know around that 2021
I mean,
Tryndamere.
Mumu last year.
Mumu last year. It does feel kind of fun though. I like the kind of testing grounds, if you will, of the play-ins to kind of see what we might or might not see. But so far it's been pretty standard. I think that we should be seeing a lot of Renekton and a lot of Orianna as we go through the play-ins and even the main stage. So we'll see what ends up being the flavour of the tournament. It's a month-long tournament. Does end up getting what I call the mini-metas, and you end up kind of having things that are priority even though they wouldn't have been priority at the start.
Yeah, I still think though, like, Control Mage is just so strong. This Orianna is a menace. We saw it yesterday. I haven't got to see a huge amount of it in the last game just because it just wasn't a position for it to really scale into it, and even in first series today, going for a bit of a more defensive build. For this in Tinowns, I want to see pure aggression. I want to see like the Leandries straight in towards the Shadow Flame, like get your damage there so you can actually be a 2-item carry and really get into the mid-game and hitting your stride.
Level 3, there was a moment there for Zeus to go for something, but now that Levi has been revealed, Croc gonna just walk away. Does get hit by the Q, and he lands it, so he goes straight back in on top of it. The funny thing is, I was gonna say, you don't actually want that 1v1. Now Croc might be forced to flash as he realizes he's a little bit isolated away from his team. Nice full tilt from Pallet to get him right into the thick of it, but good little bit of aggression there from Levi. In the 1v1 he would lose, but in a 1v2 he definitely wins.
Yeah, able to back away. Croc unfortunately have to burn that flash just because you had that push from GAM on that bot side, able to lean in to try and help out with Croc. So at least the moment, GAM doing some good work. Kati as well, taking a little bit of damage, but will give the opportunity for, at least with the push here, Levi to get the double scuttle. And a lot of that is trying to set Croc behind, so he just hits 6 a little bit later. You delay that effect, he has a little bit longer before it becomes really relevant in these lanes and in these fights.
Not as explosive a start as they had for Loud in the first game, as we see Kiaya going for a little bit of a cheeky trade to get that demolished proc up on that top side, but you know, little by little, bit by bit. That's the power of the top laners as well. We see it so often that you kind of need to always be in that lane. If you go for a bit of an unfavorable reset, you're going to lose a plate or two because of Demolish and how strong it is. So right now, it does feel like Kiaya does feel comfortable in this one. He really wants this turret plate, but he needs to be very careful with how he goes for it. He's taking one too many turret shots. He has to flash. And that's the thing, as Jamato would say, the curse of Los Platos almost took him.
Honestly, I think it's just bad decision making from Kiaya. Like, you know the Nocturne's going to be up in this top side, right? You knocked Croc out of the bot lane. You know that he tried to clear all his camps, so the only place he really could be is going to be top side. So Kiaya burning that for no real reason when he could have just tried to wait out. So a little bit of a mistake that I think Croc should be able to come back and punish then and kind of put Kiaya in his place once more.
We shall see. Both mid laners and top laners going to be hitting 6 very soon, and that's when the game really starts to become of course you want to have full access to all of your abilities before you really try to go for something. And Seo's just being a little bit of a nuisance just to try and make sure he has full eyes on Levi, and that's kind of half the battle when it comes to something like a Nocturne or Lee Sin. If you have vision on them, if you know where they're going to be most of the time, they do have a much more muted impact of how they can kind of affect the game.
Yeah, I think that's where at the moment you're trying to keep track, but there's been no real like funny business when it comes to pathing, right? It's been full clear, reset, go back to your camps on either side of the map that are respawning, so everyone kind of aware of what the enemy jungler is up to. It's just been a case of, well, GAM getting push on bot side, making it very difficult for Loud to respond in a lot of ways to this. So you can see again Lee Sin going to start up Dragon because he knows, hey, bot lane's pushed in, the Croc can't just deal with me himself, and Kati has pushed mid. So at the moment GAM playing a much more calculated game and just playing off of their wave states well with the winning lanes in mid and bot.
Yeah, much more cool, calm and collected here from GAM. Better start overall for sure. They are coming out on top a little bit. There's first Dragon of the game going over to them. The second one's going to be a mountain one. We'll see in 5 minutes, but for now, Seos just being a little bit more cheeky with his positioning right now, recognizing he's in a position to kind of get away from Pallet should Slayder and him go for something a bit more aggressive. But I think it's level 6 for this GAM bot lane when they get access to the Magnet Storm and of course the ultimate from the Kaisa. That's when this assassination combination can come in.
Yeah, and if you can keep up the pressure on Loud, that's where they really start to struggle, especially pre 20 minutes. Like, they're not great at going for cross maps in the early stages. They're not great at trying to find themselves in a position where, oh, we can trade objective A for objective B. So if you're actually in a position where, say now, 7 minutes, you're looking at Rift Herald, it's not often that we see Croc trying to then go, oh, I'll dive bot instead or something along those lines. So if you can keep the pressure up, it kind of just becomes a stew that Loud can't really deal with. And I think that's where GAM, if they can start to move around towards these objectives after getting Dragon, after getting pressure on the bottom side and keeping that up, Loud will start to struggle.
We'll just wait and see. It's going to be quiet, I think, for the next few minutes. We will have a Rift Herald spawning in 30 seconds, but the pressure for GAM does feel... Oh, nice little move. I was going to say go completely on it. You mentioned it earlier. They wanted to punish the flashless Crocodile, and Croc just does that beautiful there from Robo.
But you didn't even need a style on him like that. No. It's like, oh yeah, he's got no flash, we can go for this. But instead it's like, hang on, let me just break this man's ankles. So GAM now down. We just said, hey, we want to see them keep up the pressure. Well, once again, Croc gets into top lane, helps Robo out, shuts down Kiaya, and goes, right, well, now we're the ones that get this Rift Herald.
Yeah, and there's a reason why it was a featured match presented by Mercedes-Benz, because those moments where Robo should be on the backside of it just changed the dynamic of the game. All of a sudden, top lane's under pressure. Ooh, Croc, they might try and go on top of you here. No one actually helped him out with the Rift Herald, so that's just going to be a big change of place.
That's fine, though. Like, Roots on bot side, he's getting 2 plates for this, so you've invested everything from GAM to try and get this because you don't have your top laner there. Kiaya doesn't even have the TP to get down to bot side, so
true.
Like, this is actually still working out relatively well for Loud because Kiaya will be able to pick up the wave, but you just lost that last wave, and maybe you lose another plate here. Maybe you lose your life for Kiaya as well, because no flash, and here comes the dive.
I mean, he's already used his ultimate just to try and clear it off. They'll get the second plate to come in here. The stun comes down. The knockup is good. He finally gets himself away. The root is decent. Can they get the damage? They can! Root picks that one up. but that is now 2-0 for Loud in this game. They get everything they wanted and a little bit more.
Hey, I just said Loud aren't great at cross-mapping, but they pulled it off incredibly well. Problem is, though, Croc needs to be top. Has the ult if he can get in here.
Yeah, he does indeed. The kickback is good. The Magna Storm, but again, it's still a Cassante, so he's going to be able to be just fine. He has so many dashes and flashes. Now they've used two different things. There's the CC buffer coming in. Palad's in a little bit of trouble. Flash comes in, trying to get himself away from it. Robo is saying, bring more! Bring everybody! I'll take yous all on! The ultimate finally comes in, and they get the execution there with the Lee Sin Q, but it took a hell of a lot longer than GAM needed.
I wasn't sure if Croc would just move up towards topside with the ultimate, just try and help out in that regard, because I think if you end up with Croc there, they're not able to do much. Didn't want to lose out on the mid plates though to Kati, so at the moment you get a good amount of the wave as well, because Root and Seus are up here, so yes, it's kill for a kill, but Loud still responding well.
Yeah, Slayder does have flash, might have to use it here in a second. They are going to jump on top of him with Charm is good. The heal keeps him with a little bit of movement speed out of harm's way, but those are the small mistakes we saw in game number 1 as well, where they just weren't really respecting Loud, and Loud fully prepared to punish it.
Yeah, the fact that you don't even get the Rift Trail down on this top side is such a big win for Loud. Kati going to respond to Root here. Doesn't have his ult available, but you can see maybe GAM trying to think of setting up something with Levi and Paladin on this top end of the map, but they know that there's probably a few more members of Loud up there than they'd bargained for, so they're going to back away. But again, Tinowns now pushing in mid because Kati's staying on top side, so he's going to take plates. It's little wins that are starting to pick up here for Loud. It's only, you know, an 800 gold lead, 600 gold lead for them, but control over top side, you'll get to reset now. You got control over mid, where you can start to move over towards this dragon. Just start to disrupt GAM, who had control of the early stages.
Yeah, I will say, unfortunately, there for Loud, they did lose a plate in the mid lane, but it does feel like it's GAM responding a lot of the times. Loud making the play, and they're, you know, two movements forward, but Charm lands from Kati, but Tinowns had his jungler in the wings, and they know with the paranoia available that is not a fight you want to be taking just yet, but again, Loud just kind of playing this not like slow, but in a much more methodical way. They're not reacting in a panicked way. They're just getting what they can and constantly making GAM answer to them.
Yeah, I think at the moment Loud would like to try and set up for this Rift out and again have GAM respond to them. But the biggest problem that they have right now is like Tinowns actually kind of a little bit behind. Would look to try and finish off his Luden's Echo before he gets in towards this next fight. Like that would give him so much control. So they have him on top side, but he needs to push in, reset, then TP into the fight. So a little bit dangerous. Control over mid priority though means that Loud will start up the dragon. You can see Robo trying to fight for bot priority as well, but this is kind of dangerous. There's a lot of big combo the GAM can just go for here as Loud are trying to set up for it.
You gotta be careful there as Kati and Tinowns. They can't be caught going for the TP because they will just be CC'd immediately by the opposition number, so they have to make sure they're in a position to kind of get that one safely. As we see both 80 carries with their first item, Stormrazor for Slayder, so going not the build we just saw there from Root because he knows he's going to have to try and burn through a couple more health bars.
Still though, like this is decent patience from Loud. They're like, hey look, they have Rift Trail, they can immediately try and take some of the plates, so we got to back off. But again, Tinowns, is they going to reset? He's going to pick up his Ludens off the back of this, probably those Merc threads finished as well, and then they'll be able to actually fight with this massive Orianna off the back of this as well. So I think that's what a lot of they're playing for. You can see Ludens just completed. I think he's just waiting. No, won't get the boots at the moment, but still in a really strong spot now compared to Kati.
Yeah, see what Kati's able to do now. It does have a TP available to themselves, so might just push in that top side and look to get a little bit more. Not quite sure. They could stay for the third plate if they really wanted to, but they need that reset in right now.
Yeah. Excuse me, sorry. They need Kati to try and get his own answer to the mythic that's completed, but you can see Tinowns are like, cool, we're going to completely forgo this and just try and find that dragon off the reset for Kati. Kati immediately TP into the tower though, so they're kind of missing their window of opportunity here.
Here we go, Croc looking to get caught on with a flash away, so Pallet loses his ultimate, gets caught out. They're going to get him right up on top of the wall. He's nowhere to go and he is taken out, but they've taken down the jungler as well. The all-out comes in to bring the Renekton right back into the hands of the Xayah as she tries to put down the feathers to get this damage down. A flash away from Kiaya gets him out of that fight, but you've lost your jungler now on the side of Loud. They need to try and push this mid lane, but I don't think GAM are going to let them do it for free.
Levi still has kick, he still has flash. You got to be so careful about how you position here. Levi could make a play.
Tinowns does flash away, gets away from the charm. You can see Kati trying to see if he can catch him there, get good reactions there from the Loud mid laner, but again, we're getting to the point that the people who died have respawned. We might have another fight.
Yeah, and I mean, look at bot side. Kiaya just goes, hey, yeah, you do your thing mid, I'm going to get some plates on bot side. So nice response from GAM. They're immediately going to turn over towards the dragon. This is where it gets risky though. They're a little bit low, but I think they can burn this. Actually, maybe not. TP from Tinowns as well. Rout really wants to get in here.
He got in, he gets himself division right there as well. They're going to try and jump straight on top of the Lee Sin. The flash kick is good, but it's not good enough. tries to see if he can move away. Scooby uses flashes there, only got him right behind it on the ward hop. And now the Dragon is taking so much damage. There's a bit of a charm on the Robo, but he's taking so much damage, he's going to get taken out. That is the question. Slayder wants to go for something right now, but it's going to be so difficult. It's a little bit of a strange situation. There's going to be the stride breaker. As you can see, Croc goes a little bit too far forward. These AD carries are the ones that are trying to be set up for success, as these odd bars are so low. Levi lands the Sonic Wave, but doesn't want to overcommit to it. But important for Loud, yes, they lose their jungler, but they did gain the Dragon.
They get the Dragon, but it's more kills going over towards GAM again. So this is where we get to see finally that 1,000 gold lead for GAM, and a huge amount of that, as you can see from the Mastercard lane economy Snapchat, is on that jungle, right? So Levi doing a great job here, and although they did manage to push GAM back, they didn't need to take the fight. I think they were looking at Tinowns going, hey, you're going to have your ult up in a second, maybe we can make the play, but without it, they just overcommit.
This is a much stronger start now from GAM as well, keeping themselves right in this one. Yes, they did lose that Dragon fight, but they had one of their own. But again, let's look at how chaotic this whole thing is.
Yeah, and this is where Croc should have just tried to take the long way around, because the problem is, look at where Zaya is. She's completely zoned out of the equation, can't really get into this fight because she's trying to figure out what side of the wall she's supposed to be on. Robo then ends up, like, they get the pick, your jungler goes down, and now Root's again trying to walk in. So the whole time GAM are having this fight, they're getting their damage off, whereas Root's trying to get into a position to actually follow up. And here again, Root, yes, gets caught out, but the Nocturne ult actually means that this kick isn't seen by anyone, despite how good it was. And Kati could have actually gone for the flash, or gone for a charm, tried to see if he could have got the kill, but wasn't really in the position. But at this stage, Robo's out, you get the Dragon, just call it a day. Yeah. There's no need. No ultimate on towards the Orianna, and I think that's where they were like, oh, maybe we can try and get something with this setup, but your Ori doesn't really have the damage without that ultimate at the moment. And you don't really have Root in a position where you can step up to be the carry. Pallet, though.
Oh, Pallet. Gonna have to try and use a crash down right now. It is a Chem Soul, so we'll have a little bit of the Rift to help him out, getting that extra little bit of a knockback from the plant. But while we came back, the top lane and the mid lane, thank you so much to our observers, do end up getting taken out. So it's a trade. Still about 1,000 gold. Actually, it's coming out to about 2,000 gold. GAM have been able to pick up a lot of farm on those side lanes. 30 CS between the junglers is the one that I'm looking at right now, and it does feel like it's GAM having a little bit of a stronger time on these resets.
Yeah, definitely getting a lot off the back of this. You can see there on the goal difference over time paired by AWS, like you're getting a huge amount of opportunities on GAM to start to pick up the pace, and I think they need to continue this, because you can see there, like, the difference when GAM has vision versus doesn't have vision in team fights is absolutely insane. So if they're able to control the map, look for picks with the Ari and Levi, who's quite fed. Even having Slayder, if he needs to, ulting in to find those picks, is going to be great. Rift Tower in Levi's back pocket as well. Would like to try and get that down, but I imagine they're going to try and hold on to that for the mid lane tower instead, and just have Kati slowly work down this bot lane turret.
I think it's just so close to being taken down anyway. You commit a little bit of extra time, you should be able to just kind of get it eventually. Pretty much full first items being coming out across the board for pretty much everybody, as we wait to see now what the next big play will be. Just under 2 minutes until that Dragon spawns, but being a Chem Soul, it's not going to be the biggest of priorities, and we'll see if these teams get a little bit more creative.
I will say, though, this is a significantly better showing from GAM. We kind of got to see them pushed over in the last game because Slayder and Pallet couldn't keep control of our bot side. But look at the difference now, right? Levi, far more confident on the Lee Sin. They're willing to contest for a lot of these objectives. Kiaya getting some good positioning when it comes towards these fights as well, although struggled a little bit thanks to Robo in that last one, but at least GAM are actually fighting toe-to-toe with Loud rather than just being blown over by a stiff breeze. GAM as well, looking for Zaya here. Root might have overextended.
Yeah, definitely has overextended. The cleanse ain't going to do anything. Going to have to probably flash as well, but honestly, once he got caught out there, I think the cleanse and the flash are useless, and unfortunately for Loud, their carry is gone. Now they can use the Rift Herald on this top side, mid lane, really kind of put down the pressure.
Yeah, there was no need for Root to be in that position. Didn't have any sort of vision. It gets caught out now. That's going to be the mid lane turret taken without much resistance, and they can even continue this push forward. Got to be very careful here. Charm could land.
Yeah, the guy's behind. I was going to say, they're going to try and maybe go for a bit of a move here. Kiaya has to flash away. Does end up kind of being a little bit too far extended right now, and it's just becoming a little bit of a problem now. GAM kind of building this momentum to get themselves back in this match. 3,000 gold.
Yeah, I mean, big move from GAM to get that everything that they needed there. I will say, overextending just a smidge, where in that situation you could have just backed off, set yourselves up for Dragon, and you would have been in a great spot, but this is just silly from Root. Like, yes, you've got that ultimate, but you have zero vision in that push to spot out Pallet. Great flash in, sets up perfectly coming through with the ultimate as well, and as they start to back away, I think that's where they could have been, but we're back into live. You got 13 seconds until Dragon. This is where you want to try and keep this pressure up as GAM.
Yeah, you really, really want to try and keep your foot down on the pedal, get that momentum going for yourself, and get yourself back into this series, because after game one, I don't think a lot of people would have been, I wouldn't give them too much of a hard time if they said, look, this is allowed 2-0, but really, really good bounce back here by GAM, and to kind of completely change up their draft and priorities to make sure they aren't just going to get, bombed out again.
Yeah, we'll see. Raz might be picking up his shoe by the end of this, but now starting to move in. Sorry, flip-flop, yes, but now Leo's starting to move in. Levi in a good position. Keep your eyes on Pallet. Actually going to come back over the wall. I thought he was going to try and keep that position.
Yeah, you got TP wards available as Kiaya kind of comes in from the mid lane. You're going to see now if Robo can keep him going, but never mind. They're going to try and fully commit here onto the Rect and get his ultimate out of him. The paranoia does mean that there's no real re-engage to come out of this one here. Kiaya taking a lot of damage here and will eventually be taken out. They did get the dragon on the side of GAM, but can they get out with their lives? That is the question. Robo feeling empowered and confident gets kicked right the way back because he wants nothing to do with this team. And Levi ward tops over, so Dragon goes over to GAM, kill to Loud.
Yeah, Loud though, they're trying to see if they can maybe move into position here to just keep them pushed out. Actually going to continue to chase this. I wasn't sure if they were just trying to look for the mid-tier 2 instead, but they did find a pick.
Kati's getting a lot of damage onto him. He doesn't have the spirit rush, I should say. That means he's going to be going down. So that's 2 kills. That changes the trade pattern a little bit. It's gone from 3,000 gold to 1,500 gold. They've cut it in half.
Yeah, nice job coming through from Loud to find that pick. Even now they get to kind of right the wrongs of the lanes a little bit, push in top, get control over this mid lane as well, send Root into a position where he can actually start to get a bit more of this gold and try and get him towards 2.5 to 3 items very quickly. So nice picks. But I still think Loud, at least having control over the dragons for a moment, will help out substantially, and just again trying to see if they can find these picks versus big team fights.
Not only does it lead to picks, it leads to an objective, and that's what we always look for in these games, is that if you turn a kill into an objective, you're doing well. Guinsoo's Rage Blade just get finished up here by Slayder, so...
Could I just very quickly point out,
go on,
how many wards are around that dragon pit? That is a ludicrous amount of
and they're
red
all
wolves.
for Loud. That's the craziest thing. They're all Loud wards. If anyone sneezes around that dragon pit, they will know about it. But, I mean, it's why they felt comfortable going for that tower. There you go. There's a method to the madness, Dagger.
I mean, look, Allowed getting something back is nice. Trying to slow down the pace as well for GAM, because let's be real, I mean, Xayah scales wonderfully, Orianna scales fantastically, same with Cassante. So the later this game goes, the more opportunities Loud will have. So it is on GAM to try and keep the pace up and keep themselves in a position where they can threaten Loud. And it's these picks, these moments where you're trying to clear out vision, that maybe you can find that opportunity.
We'll see now. Loud just kind of getting themselves a couple of second items, or excuse me, GAM getting themselves a couple of second items. Got the Sterix Gauge and the Black Cleaver for Kiaya and Levi respectfully. And of course we did talk about the Guinsoo's Rage Blade as well being picked up for Slayder alongside that Stormrazor's Edge. So let's see if they want to go for something right now. It does look like for the moment they're happy to kind of just control this mid lane. They don't want to go for too much, and that's what I was saying, you got to be careful of those feathers. The Xayah so scarily deceptive with the way she works.
I think they're trying to keep an eye out for Robo. Oh, Pallet missed it!
Pallet missed it! Levi has to kick away. They do get the stretching strike. That's going to force the cleanse. The Charms comes down. They got Kiaya on the backside. The flanking Renekton is the scariest. They look to try and get onto Root, and he is dead. Now that's 2 kills. Good shockwave, but I don't think it's going to be enough. A double kill for the top laner as they keep pushing in and more. They're looking to try and make do and make up for a first game wins, and GAM looking to bounce back hard.
Root thought that this was game 1, thought that he could go forward, but wasn't expecting Kiaya over the side. All that vision we talked about on the bottom side for Loud passes out, and the second it does, Kiaya gets into position. GAM find the kills, and they'll get the Baron.
5v5, and they came out with 4 for none. They'll get the Baron, they'll get all the jungle camps, they got the mid-tier 1 and 2 as well. This was a fantastic amount of gold and just presence for GAM.
Yeah, we'll see it as the replay kicks off, just how quickly Loud panic when they see the Renekton come in. Like, Root had already used his ultimate to try and make the play happen. It was a good ult because he does get rid of the kick here, which was the big follow-up, right? Has to dodge Levi going for this kick, then sets up for Pallet, but the problem is he's now too far forward as the Croc comes over the wall, tries to flash away, and Loud are panicking to try and keep Root safe, but with the follow from Levi, with Kiaya just being in the mix, it was so difficult to try and keep him alive, and Ori just isn't in a position right now to be that 1 DPS carry for those fights. She's only sitting on an item and a half.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, the Red Bull Baron power play now coming in here for GAM, but this is a huge shift now. It's a 5,000 gold lead, 5.5 actually. Dragon spawning in a minute's time. They're going to get full priority in all the side lanes, and you are just kind of sitting and waiting now on the side of Loud to try and get this game back into your favor.
Yeah, honestly, I think if I'm Loud, I'm like, look, let's not even go for it. Just leave this next dragon. Yes, it'll put them on towards Soul Point, but realistically, we're just not in a position to try and fight right now. We have absolutely no vision. Let's see if we can try and get some of the standing, go to the map, use some of these bounties, like get top tower, try and get control over mid a little bit. Just give ourselves an opportunity to scale. Like 3 items, and Loud are so absolutely terrifying in a team fight that if you take a step wrong, you're going to know all about it as GAM. So just take it slow. There's no need to try and overforce things here.
No need to overforce, no need to get too antsy. But like I said, in that last fight, the panic that kind of set in. But oh, here we go. They're looking for a little bit of a move here onto the Kaisa, and they will find her. Can they get anyone more? That's the question. The TP's come in, but a 2 kill for none. You said for GAM to not be antsy, but Loud didn't allow them to be.
Robo, how have you done this twice? Absolutely styling on them. Getting Slayder off the back of that was so crucial. What a play from the top laner.
I mean, it is the feature matchup. He is, in a lot of people's eyes, the soul of this team. And when they needed him most, he stepped up to carry. And that is a massive swing now. There it is, the featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz. It is going to be Kiaya versus Robo. And Robo is kind of having his way with this matchup.
I'm just gobsmacked. Like, that was so sick. Like, out of nowhere, I was like, oh yeah, they're going to siege up. I started looking at the mini-map. And next thing, Robo, flash forward, stun with the W, then into the knockback, immediate ult. And if you can see, they attempted the Everfrost to keep him safe, but with the immediate ult from Nocturne, the follow from Seos, there was nothing GAM could do in this.
That's what I love about that play. It's the instant follow-up from the rest of his team, the pure trust in their top laner to go, this is the play, we all commit to it, everyone all in, and that was just fantastic moves there. I mean, just great to get them right back into this one now. So yes, they're still 4,500 gold down, but they got the dragons. That's not coming up anytime soon. They've delayed pretty much all of this Baron. It's going to be gone in 15 seconds. You got very little.
Yeah, I mean, a legend in the CB law, 6 titles, matching BRTT for Robo, and now coming into this as well, a legend on the Rift. As looking at Pallet again, doesn't have the flash this time, Robo, but definitely you can see respect from GAM as they start to move back. They realise, hang on lads, we don't have the opportunity to really push in here, and this is buying that time, that, well, massive amount of time for Loud to get that scaling. But this is what Loud do. Like, when you look at them in CB LOL, it's like 20 minutes is where they start to come alive. They have these moments where they can find a pick. They'll play off good wave states. They'll find some way to slow down the game and get back into it. And Robo, with that play, did exactly that.
That's it. We talked about how, you know, in the last game, the early game was not what Loud are known for in the CB LOL. It's the later stages, the 20-plus minutes. Even when they're behind, they were able to kind of create opportunities, create moments where they can make anything happen, just like that. And this thing as well is that at that time, like, Kiaya was so far ahead. He had the Abyssal Mask alongside, like, he was 3 items, coming up to 3.5 and 4 now in a moment. But it becomes so much harder to deal with this Cassandre the more tankiness he gets, the more, you know, kind of items and kind of just general kind of game-changing buffs he gets from some of these items, like the Gargoyle Stone Plate.
Yeah, I mean, at this stage, your biggest worry is going to be like Tinowns when he starts to finish his Void Staff. It's just going to be so clutch for Loud. Again, though, you got to kind of like buy that time. So at the moment, you can see Loud, they've kind of set up their vision line, right? It's like a direct line just across their ward place.
Pallets. He didn't know he was sitting on a ward. That pink ward did not catch it there. Robo just moving forward aggressively, confidently, knowing it's going to. But let's not get it twisted for the moment. Yes, it's great for Loud. They're looking like they're doing a fantastic job, but gotta remember, this is still a 4,500 gold lead for GAM. They are still in the driving seat. They need to make something happen, though.
Yeah, they're just running out of time. It's the scaling that's going to come online for Loud very, very quickly, and just playing off this line of wards is where Loud feel comfortable, and they're happy to defend this for the moment.
Yeah, no Barons. The siege is not really going to go anywhere. The Everfrost into the Q from the RE is not going to do a huge amount to Robo, who has basically no magic resistance at the moment. Has a little bit of passive stuff from the Iceborne Gauntlet, but that's about it. So, got to be careful of the damage that's kind of being shoved into him. But for now, it is definitely a much tighter game here for GAM than they probably would have liked, considering how well they were working in that mid game.
Yeah, and this is where, like, in theory, what you want to try and do is GAM is like, hey, we're going to try and set up for a push in mid, use that to then draw Loud into the mid lane, and then establish all our vision. Try and see if we can get all that set up and clear out some of the opportunities Loud have had to defend their own jungle, but we're just not quite seeing that. They're trying to kind of cut corners, not pull enough members of Loud into those positions, and it means that the Loud are constantly able to defend that vision line. So for GAM, it's a case of, hey, can you actually play through this map state properly? And I mean, to be honest, it's not something that we see from them a lot domestically. It is a case of, hey, if we show up mid, you're going to fight. And that's kind of the way that it has worked in the VCS. With Loud showing this much restraint, I think GAM are starting to struggle a little bit.
Just a little bit. They're not getting the same kind of madness, if you will, that they would get from the VCS. They're not getting the same kind of crazy plays that everyone just kind of throws everything at the wall and sees what stick. But important to note that we have got a couple of key items being picked up here. We have got 3 items here onto the Xayah. Lord Dominus Regard gets finished up, so they are fantastically fed if they can put down the feathers. Not only that, on the other side, you do have Slayder with 3 items, but they also have the tiny little buff of having a stopwatch. So we'll wait and see how both these teams want to fight around these fights.
Baron fight.
What
can you do, Levi?
Yeah, what can you do? Robo now with his Randuin's Omen going full for that AD, or armor, I should say, to deal with the AD. It's kind of making him towards it.
Watch Tinowns. He's trying to sit off onto the side here. See if he can catch GAM as they start to make their way in again. Like, Tinowns can kind of sit and look for these plays because he knows Croc and Sales can have that immediate follow-up, but not quite finding anyone for the moment. Vision, not great for Loud in this area, which means...
Tinowns, he does get kicked back, but there's no charm. They're going to finally jump straight in on top of him, but now they can get everybody else down. You can see Rude trying to deal with the Lee Sin. The paranoia puts everybody into the darkness, and they can't find the carries. 2 kills, 3 kills, maybe even 4. Slayder goes down, and that's it. The Baron and Loud are right back in the game.
The pick was so close to being there, but the damage was not there to follow up. And once again, Loud are managing to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat.
It just feels like GAM, it's such a massive moment. They felt like they had it, but just small little things that went against them that just didn't really work. Levi looking for a 1v1. Never mind, it's a 1v2. Just get a ward jump over the wall, but he's going to be nowhere near this dragon to even potentially stop that soul point going over. But I mean, Loud just playing this matchup so well, and just honestly just keeping GAM just in the dark, quite literally.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately for GAM, they just weren't able to try and play off of, hey, look, we've got this Lee Sin Ahri, let's try and make a quick pick. And you can see the idea was there, especially with Slayder having that ultimate. Come in over the side, try and burst them out, but despite not having defensive stats, it's so difficult to burst out this Ori. Charm dodged, which was beautiful, but then the missed Q coming through from Kati, that's the damage that realistically would have finished off this Orianna nice and early, but not there. Then as you get the follow-up from the Recton on this top side, great charm coming through from Sales to keep everyone off of Root. And with those 3 items that you talked about, Oshin completed, Root is able to carry out the DPS he needs.
That's it, the paranoia comes down, they don't know exactly where everybody is, and then just perfect target selection from Robo as well. Immediately goes all out onto Slayder, who had flash and heal, could not use either of them because he just knew he was dead. There was nothing to go, there was nothing to run away from.
And now you've still got all the standing gold on the map for Loud as well. So not only do they get the fight, they're going to start getting top towers. You get top tier 1, you get tier 2, you got tier 2 on bot. Look at mid, Croc is going to crack open this tier 2 as well. Like, you're in such a good position now as Loud to now not only get the gold lead back in your favor, but also grow it.
Here we go, they're looking for a little bit of a fight right now. The turret from the Nocturne in the mid lane, because he's got the paranoia to join in on top of this one. Kati has been spotted, and immediately the paranoia comes out. Turn off the lights, where are you going to go? I'm going to jump right on top of your face and force you to back away. Just small little things that just stop everything from GAM, and Loud have just perfectly navigated this mid to late game.
Kati and Levi try to turn onto Croc, but he's able to get out of there as well. And now Loud, they've still got 2 barred up minions here, but Croc has been separated. Can GAM now try and ream out something?
You know what? If it's so nice, you try it twice. Let's go for it. They're going to try and see if they get Kiaya on the backside. He pops the dominance to see if they can burn him down. There's the good kick. The shockwave comes in. Slayder tries to do the damage, but the feathers do go flying. No Root to come out. Slayder does get the stopwatch off finally. They're jumping onto Root, but Root has a stopwatch of his own. Kati goes down to Robo on the backside of this one. Immediately turns his target onto the other carry of GAM, and Shubby have to slice him down. He was the featured matchup. He was the man we looked to be the king, and he is doing just that. A triple kill for Robo as the CB LOL roar into the World Championship. He's not quite done. He wants to best a little bit more time, but he's not got the damage now. He's finally done on his all out, but they may still look for more.
Robo was the chosen one. He was the one we said to watch the day. And in game 2, when Loud were down, we said they were out. Robo stood tall and said, come at me, Kiaya. What you got?
They said you got the high ground, but it does not matter because Robo, still taking a lot of damage, finally gets the Gargoyle Stone Plate. He's going to get another dominance. That is the second dominance in this fight. And finally the shutdown comes on the Robo, but he is not the carry for the minute. Kiaya does get a double kill, and GAM survive, but it is literally that word, survive.
2 dominance, 2 shockwaves, a second chance needed for Loud to try and finish this off. It's only Halloween, don't start that. But as we start to come in, I mean, for here, Root, he's got on the wrong side of this fight. But again, Seo's keeping people at bay, managed to get onto Levi and Kiaya to keep them out. Then you do get Slayder, who's very, very far forward, but Root posts a stopwatch. He's stealing a lot of time, and Robo is soloing out on Slayder on the back line, which makes things significantly easier, because now consistent damage is gone with consistent damage, and Robo, this Cassante, level 17 with this many items, it's going to be so damn strong. But defender advantage as we come into the second fight here. Kiaya, super healthy, coming back out. Robo has nothing left in tank when it comes to damage, so it's all on Tinowns, but he just doesn't have enough consistent DPS as this Orianna to try and take out Kiaya.
Yes, again, like you said, this is good for GAM to get themselves back into this, but it's a big old but. The scaling feels like it has hit. This feels like now you have a full item Cassante. Oh, I'm going to say that was something. Look at no damage. No one did anything. They threw everything at him and he couldn't do any damage onto it with 1 minute until the Chem Soul dropped up. I mean, a Chem Soul for the Cassante this huge is actually massive.
Yeah, it's going to be so difficult to try and take him down. But the problem is, I don't even know if we're going to get to that. I mean, 50 seconds, yes, until it's up, but you have so many issues for GAM to deal with. They've got top lane that's pushing in, mid control there for Loud. Like, yes, Loud will probably take the Dragon, but I just don't think you're in a position here as GAM to take the fight beforehand.
They got to throw something at it. You got to throw something at it. The super minions are being dealt with by Kiaya, but look at that drop. Oh my god. And the win probability powered by AWS. And that's the thing. It's a probability, so it's just kind of figuring out where the game is. And GAM were pretty solid for most of it, but does feel like right now it's just so difficult for them to even step up to Loud.
I mean, we said already, right? The scaling has perfectly come through for Loud. You're looking at nearly your final item coming through from Root. Tinowns is going to start working on, imagine, on Rabadon's death cap, so even then it's still going to be tough, but I just don't think he's going to get to it. I mean, well, maybe actually as he is headed back, but like, it's just so hard. Like, even look at Robo there. It's
Elixir of Iron. Yeah, he's got an Elixir of Iron, so he's doing even more there. There's going to be the Chem Soul. Goes in, stolen! Nicely done by Levi, the king of objective steals. He'll give his life, but it is enough. And look at Kati. I don't know where he is, but he's there.
I mean, they were setting up for a potential fight, but you're now 45 seconds as Loud with Baron on the way. Yes, you stopped the soul, but you're going to lose Baron, and you're still only going to be shoved into your own base. Like, it delayed us, but maybe by a handful of seconds, Loud just get to do what they want to get.
Yeah, they won't get the soul in the Baron, they'll just get the Baron. So this is the issue there. And look, Levi always love a little bit of extra spice, kind of putting in as much as he possibly can. And like you said, any advantage you can deny from your enemy is an advantage to you. But yeah, the Baron being here right now, and Slayder needs to be very careful with those recalls next time.
Yeah, but Loud, now they're outside the base. 10 seconds still on Levi, which means mid lane tower is going to fall. GAM, they're crumbling in front of them. Like, yes, you took away an advantage, but you also gave yourself a disadvantage in this 4 versus 5 now as Loud continue to push forward. One more inhibitor stands in their way between taking everything in the base of GAM.
Taking everything in the base, taking this series, and taking a shot at PSG. Knock them out at MSI, and they want revenge, like you said. They've been thinking about this for a long time over in the CB Law, but for GAM, they have to try and find something. There has to be something from them there. Red Bull Baron power play coming in for Loud, but it's gonna be so tough. You can even see now just how difficult it is for Kiaya to deal with these Supermen. It's like Renekton just doesn't really function that well in the late game.
Yeah, I mean, trying even just to be a setup essentially at this stage for Kati and for Strider. Like, the Abyssal Mask picked up, he's like, hey, I just want to get into someone and help us blow them up. But again, it feels like GAM have to try and play for this pick. It's about trying to see if they can find that opportunity to get someone who's out of position. But at every step of the way, Loud have been like, right, now we have control, group. Get vision as a group. Don't let that opportunity to really happen. And it feels like it has to be on Levi to maybe look for this like miracle kick to set things up. But you can see with waves all over the place in favor of Loud, you're kind of split up yourself as GAM to try and cover it.
Not only if you get the miracle kick, that would be amazing, but Root has a GA. You know, this isn't exactly an easy target. Even if you do burst them out, you're going to have to do it again after the fact. And with Baron still up for another minute, they are putting in some serious work. The Paranoid comes out to stop any kind of re-engage, as they do eventually jump here straight onto the Renekton. Kiaya in no man's land. He flashes, but he's feared anyway. He was left in the dark, and now he will will be shut down by himself, alone and isolated, and now without the Renekton to put any kind of real pressure down. Robo doesn't have a problem with this. He'll tank this all day long. He doesn't care what they throw at him. In fact, he might just turn around and say, take the tower, I'll tank it.
Yeah, they're just going to be able to continue to push in. This is going to be the third inhibitor turret dropped. Loud going to start to rotate up towards this top side, it looks like, to take the last inhibitor, escort these minion waves in the mid lane as well. Tinowns is resetting. He wants the TP. Loud want to end it here.
Yeah, Loud want to end it, but you can see there, GAM know if they let anyone go back, they're in so much trouble. There you go, the reset's coming in. Death cap, I imagine, to be finished. There it is, coming out from Tinowns. The damage is insane now from this Orianna. The scaling has been hit. Robo goes back and TP's right back in just to pick up an elixir of iron. He doesn't even care about the fight. He wants the towers. They want the 2-0. They try to go for the kick, but Levi can't get there in time. He's flared, he's rooted, and he is killed. 2 kills going over to Loud. Not only will they get 2 kills, they'll get the 2-0, and Loud will be continuing on in the upper bracket. It will be